Hey, we back. I'm here on OBB again, and last time I made a video on OBB, I got people from OBB telling me, "Oh, you missed the important section. You need to make more videos on the random stuff that's written on this bit." And I don't plan on making that much because I feel like a lot of these videos are just going to be like, hey, read the stuff that's here. So that is a thing. I would recommend having a look. If there's anything here that you're particularly interested in, then have a look, read it. But a lot of the stuff in this section down here is all written by Kane here, mostly. And it's very specific, right? There's some really good info on very specific things, and if you are looking for those specific things, then I would recommend having a look if you are in the server, of course. If you're not, then feel free to check out my last video that mentioned the server and was mostly about Mirrorbot, which is actually also here. But yes, I figured I would do a couple of videos on a couple of the things in this section of the server, and today we're talking about OwO Battle XP. How do you get it? More specifically, how is it calculated? Because this here is the post that I have decided to talk about today. This one seems interesting to me. We got some maths to go through, but it's good to know this stuff, because if you know this stuff, then you are more likely to be able to optimize for it, which is fun, and then you get all the XP ever. Of course, the best way to XP is just to keep on battling, and there is also hunting that also gives you XP. Hunt.bot XP is a thing, so yeah, consider that. But at any rate, getting some bonus XP is pretty good. So, as the post says here, how does bonus XP work? If you do a little battling, you will notice that most of the time you get 200 XP for winning, you get 50 XP for losing, and 100 XP for a draw. Of course, sometimes you get more than that, sometimes you get less than that. No, you never get less than that. Ignore that. Sometimes you get more than that. And that's where this bonus XP comes in. As Kane says, there are 5 types of bonus XP. The one that you are probably most familiar with, if you are new that is defeating a higher level team. Especially if your animals are really low leveled, you will find there is a lot of teams that have maybe higher leveled animals than you, but no weapons. They're really easy to beat, and you'll get more than 200 XP for doing so. So this is the first type, bonus XP when defeating a higher level team. So this just takes the average of your team and the average of the enemy team, multiplies it by 600. Kane has clearly put an asterisk in here, and then instead of escaping it, it's just made the next bit of text italics. So Kane, you need to go and fix that. But anyway, yeah, so they multiply it by 600. And that is the extra XP that you get. So the example that Kane gives, if you have an average level of around 24 and the enemy team has an average level of around 44, then your team, when you win, will get 19. That's times the 600 that's mentioned over here, which gives you 11,800 total. This also applies if the enemy team only has one single pet. This is as in, if they have one higher level pet, it's not divided by 3. It doesn't assume that the other 2 pets that aren't there are level 0. It does just take the average level of the enemy team and multiplies it by 600. So in this way, you can get a lot of XP, as the example here gives 18,000 XP. That's pretty good. And that's on top of the 200 that you would get originally. For defeating the pets. Now, you're not going to see level 50 pets without a weapons. I would assume that would be very rare. But you may very well see level, 20, 30 pets without a weapons. And if you're new, you've just set up your team, you've given them some weapons, maybe you've watched my video on how to make a team and what weapons to use and such. You're doing well because you know how the weapons work. And you come across a team that's level 30 and has no weapons, you'll probably beat them. And you could very well get yourself some 18,000 XP here, which would be pretty good. That'd get you a lot of levels up at the start. So yeah, that's cool. Of course, this is completely luck based on who you go up against. But yeah, there you go. So the next one, B, one that you'll also be pretty familiar with. This is the bonus XP when reaching a streak. So yeah, multiples of 10, 50, 100, 500, and 1000. Apparently doesn't go above 1000. You don't get any bonus XP for 5000, or at least that's what this is implying. But yeah, so we've got a nice formula here. If we let S be the length of your streak and KS be also the length of the streak pretty much, the bonus XP that you get is 500 plus the square root of the length of the streak times 10, and then times this KS. It shows you how to work out KS. But look, this is a pretty complicated formula, but it's basically saying that if you have one of these particular numbers, you're going to get more XP, and then where 100 will give you a lot more than 50 because it increases the value of the KS, right? So 100 has a value of 5, 50 has a value of 3. So if you assume that the streak is at the lowest it could be, just assume the streak is 0 and somehow you've got a streak of 100, just go with me on this, then you would get almost double the XP for an 100 streak as you would a 50 streak, because the KS goes up, right? This is like the multiplier. But you also get XP for the streak itself. So that means you would get more XP for a 200 streak than a 100 streak. But the difference isn't as much anymore. It doesn't make that much difference. All you really need is to be getting the multiplier, right? So making sure you're getting those 1000 streaks is good, the 2000 streaks is good, the 3000 streaks is good, and like 3000 streak will give you a lot more XP than 3500 streak, because it's the KS that matters. That the 3000 streak is going to give you probably more than double what a 3500 streak would, despite the fact that the 3500 streak is a higher streak, and that's because this KS value is higher. So yeah, there you go. Make sure that you're getting the multiples of 1000 if you can, of course. What this does mean as well for those new players, that getting streak does actually matter for XP, like significantly. It's not just like, oh cool, I got a 10 streak once. What you need is to be getting the high values of streaks in the thousands, right? The more streak you have, the more XP you get, basically. And that's depending on the S and the KS. You've got to make sure that you're trying to get it above 1000 though. And this isn't too hard. Don't think that it's too hard. As long as you've got some good animals and some good weapons, getting 1000 streak is actually pretty easy. If you do not have some good animals and some good weapons, again, feel free to have a look at my videos on how to make teams. Because trust me, you don't need the fabled animals and the hidden animals and all those fancy things. You can make a wonderful team with the animals that you have, I'm sure. Just you need to make sure you're using the right ones, because the prime example, always snail being a common animal and being really good. Anyway, moving on, type number C. So C is a hidden bonus for low-level pets. What this means, if you have one low-level pet in your team compared to the other pets in your team, then it gets more XP than the other ones. As it says, it is hidden. The highest level animal in your team will always get the amount of XP that it says at the bottom of the battle. If we just do a quick example battle here to demonstrate, you can see that the battle at the bottom says 200 XP, right? And my Peppa Pig, which is my highest level animal here, got 200 XP. Exactly. However, these two actually got more XP than that because they are a lower level. And they will continue to get more XP than that until they are the same level as the Peppa Pig. What this means is that it's always good to have your highest level animal in your team when you're battling, because when you increase the level of your highest level animal, it makes it easier to increase the level of all your other animals, right? So I feel like if you're trying to get the highest level animals possible, no matter what team you're testing out, you should make sure to use your highest level animal. So personally, if I was to test out a different type of team, I would still try and use my Peppa Pig, because if I'm not getting XP on these two, it doesn't matter as much. They'll get more XP later on when I start using them again. But if I'm not getting XP on this guy, I'm losing out. That's my opinion anyway. Of course, if you're trying to test out a new team, you're trying to test out a new team, and you just test it out. But yeah, if you're being optimal with the XP you're getting, that's what you would do. And this also means that, say I want to level up a new animal from scratch, I'm like, hey, instead of eagle, I don't know, I'm going to use a better attacking pet. I'm going to have my monkey with its rune, and I'm going to put that in instead. My monkey isn't nearly as high a level, but it would eventually catch up to these guys just because he would be getting more XP since he's currently a lower level. So there you go. Let's go back to the post, because I'm sure it will have an example in here anyway. Your highest level pet will always get the XP that's written. This is what I just said. But other ones will get more. So once again, we have a formula: the max level pet minus the lower pet level. So with my example of my pig and my eagle, that's going to be a difference of 1. You divide that by 10 and you add 2. The add 2 is very important, because that means even with a difference of 1, you are always getting at least twice the XP on the lower level pets. Double the XP is pretty significant. And then we do indeed have some examples. So with a 1 level difference, which is what I just said, you would get 2.1 times as much XP. And then if you had a big level difference, a level 50 pet, you find a new pet you want to level, which will be at level 0, you actually get 7 times as much XP. So that is very good if you want to level up a new pet to replace one in your team. You don't have to start again from scratch. It will get a lot of XP and it will eventually catch up. It will still take a while to catch up, though. You can see there with my eagle and my boar, as they're still a level different, despite the fact that I've been using them both in my team for almost exactly the same length of time. Because as soon as the eel becomes the same level as the boar, it's no longer getting the double XP. So there you go. But it will catch up just about, right? And that's what matters. 1 level of difference doesn't make too much difference, but 50 levels of difference makes a bit of difference. Next, we go on to D. What was D? XP for pets in your second team. Yes, XP. You do actually get XP for pets in your second team. If we go and have a look at the team command, type OwO team, you'll see that you have 2 teams. You probably know about this, but we have 2 pages here. You can star a team, and then you can move between the 2 teams. So this one is not my starred team. Starring the team just means that you're actually using it, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, there you go, my second team here, where I do have my monkey, and he actually does have a level. There you go. And these guys get half the amount of XP as your main team, roughly. So that's pretty good. You can actually level up a second team without having to compromise the XP on the team that you're currently using. So if I didn't want to lose my streak, I had a big streak here, I could continue using this team without having to swap out like 1 or 2 of the pets. And then this team here that I've been leveling up without having to use it is now pretty usable, because it's almost level 50. So yeah, they get some XP. Pets in the second team are unaffected by the actual bonus XP. They only get 100, 50, or 25 XP, which, as you will notice, this is half the amount of XP. They just don't get bonus XP. And then it's the same for hunts as well. And for hunt bots, although there is a bug this, feel free to go and have a read. It's basically just not actually making much difference. The point is, you don't want to make sure you have 1 animal in both your first and second team. That's all it says. But yes, so for your hunts and your hunt bots, you will get XP in the second team also, and it will be half the amount of XP, which is actually still pretty good. So make sure that you do have a second team equipped at all times. Don't just leave it empty, because it's free XP that you need to make sure that you're getting, and you can level up, well, a second team or whoever you want. So that's pretty good. Finally, you also get XP when someone else goes up against your team, which is pretty cool, but it doesn't happen very often. So, and again, this is something that you can't control at all, so it's pretty random. You just get a little bit of XP, which, you know, that's a thing. But yeah, there you go. Anyway, that is the 5 types of bonus XP. In order to make sure that you are getting all of them, basically the point is, you are fine to level up new pets in your team. Make sure that you have 1 pet that is really high level, and I would suggest always using him in your team no matter what, to make sure that he keeps going up and you're getting the maximum possible amount of the higher the bonus XP for the lower pets, number C. You want to get as much of that as possible. And then also always make sure that you have a second team, and make sure that the second team is different animals to the first one. So yes. Other than that, make sure that you're doing a lot of battles, make sure you're getting a high streak, make sure you're doing good stuff. Like I said a bunch of times already, feel free to have a look at my videos on how to make a team, how to use the good weapons, all the rest of it, because that should be pretty helpful, hopefully. And what if you follow what are in those videos, you will get some high streak, trust me, because the majority of animals quite low level, don't use weapons that help, and beating them is not hard. So getting a streak of a few hundred or even a few thousand is not really that difficult, as long as you put a little bit of effort into your team. But anyway, I think I will be leaving this video here. Bye!